Hello, housemates, and welcome back to Diablo 3. I found it! So, it turns out, whatever portal I saw earlier called the Killing Fields, that was just me being dumb and wrong. Not surprising. But it is in the Vestibule of Light. You just have to... It's very particular about the area in which you can trigger it. So, I had to come down to this little corner down here in the Vestibule of Light, which is the area just previous to the Garden of Hope first here. So my general intuition about the riddle was right. I just, looked in the wrong places. I didn't come all the way back to this one little corner. And so once you get back to the corner and you're wearing the proper set, this portal will trigger. So we can now go into the Dungeon of the Jade Harvester, which is what we're going to do. I'm really excited about this. I don't know anything about what's inside the set dungeons. I haven't seen any gameplay footage or read anything about them because I wanted to, see it firsthand. If you're in the same position, this should be really fun. Let's go in and see what happens. Okay, we get a set dungeon set of objectives here. Harvest 15 enemies simultaneously 10 times. Kill 100 enemies affected by both Locust Swarm and Haunt. Mastery, complete all objectives within the time limit. No heroes will die when taking fatal damage, instead the dungeon will fail. Game difficulty has no effect on dungeon difficulty, so that's good to know. It's a set difficulty. I imagine there's something going on in there that means that they're not like first level mobs with like 0 hit points. But so there's some sort of internal mechanism about how difficult the dungeon is already. Now you see, we have to kill 100 enemies afflicted by both Locust Swarm and Haunt. So there are, you're going to have to change your build before you go into these. And they do, as I suspected, work on challenging you in some way with the passive abilities and whatnot, which are part of the set that triggers the dungeon. So we need to cancel out of this and change our skills because we don't have Locust Swarm going on now. We might even go back to town and change things more radically with our passive legendary item skills as well. So let's go look at all that. So if we need to kill a lot of enemies with both Locust Swarm and Haunt afflicting them, that means that, of course, we need to have Locust Swarm as one of our talents. So because we don't have to worry about really tough mobs, I think, and like boss type stuff, it's not going to be Torment 7 level difficulty. I may switch away from my Wall of Death here because I want to keep my pets, because that's sort of a safety blanket for me with this character. So I'm going to switch this to it's the Locust Swarm. Okay. So unleash a plague of locusts that plagues enemies. So we're going to do that. Excuse me. We're going to make it diseased because poison damage is still going to be in our build as something helpful. I could change some of these, but I'm not going to. I'll leave the number of pets intact. What I will change, there's a staff. Yeah, I have the staff. Locust Swarm continuously plagues enemies around you. Now, I don't know if this works even if you're not using Locust Swarm. If so, then we could put Wall of Death back in and see if we could get things to work that way. But for the time being, I'm going to have both of these in. Is there anything else I want to change over here that might deal with Haunt and Locust stuff? Locust Swarm also slows enemies. Haunt is cast on all nearby enemies when you open chest. I already have that, so I don't need to put that on as well. Locust Swarm and Haunt now deal their damage half the normal duration. I'll put that on provisionally. Yeah. So we're going to go with this. It's a new little build. I didn't make a ton of changes. Let's clear up our inventory. I have no idea what we're going to get. What am I doing? Going here. It looks like Locust Swarm, so that effect there, it may continuously plague enemies. We might not need Locust Swarm, in which case I think I will go back to having Wall of Death, or whatever it's called. So it may take us a couple cracks at this to get mastery. We didn't get anything particularly new. I'm just gonna toss these fancy items in here and deal with whether I actually want to keep them. Oh yeah, Kool-Aid. And deal with whether I want to keep them later. The rest of this junk. Oh wait, there was one more thing. What's this? Oh sweet, I never got one of these before. Nice. I'll keep that around. So that's the thing that lets you soak up arcane damage and get some healing from it. That's great because arcane sentries are terrible and everyone hates them. Okay, so I'm going to try this without using Haunt as one of my activated skills. I'm going to go back to Wall of Death and the Ring of Poison. And we'll see how well this all works. Okay, now let's actually go into the dungeon and see how things go. Okay, here we are. So just a reminder, harvest 15 enemies simultaneously 10 times. So that means we need to be in the midst of a large mob before we hit our soul harvest. Kill 100 enemies afflicted by both Locust Swarm and Haunt. So this may actually mean that I don't want to have that Locust Swarm and Haunt deal their damage in half the duration, because it means things are going to die faster, and I won't have time to afflict them with both. We're going to go ahead and try it the way that I have it now first, and if it looks like things are dying too fast, we'll go back and try again. So, let's go. Alright. Let's see here. I need to summon my minions again. Alright, there are special champions, Jade champions. Alright, so you see we have more objectives than were listed before. Okay. So there are a lot of purple mobs in here that are just Jade champions. I imagine each set dungeon will have similar setup in that regard. Excuse me, in that regard. So there is a time limit. So we're making small progress on these goals. There's a nice big group of people. Heals. So it's, wait. Oh, did not even see that coming. No, run away. I don't know what I just picked up there. Get into bigger groups.
Perfect strike.
So it looks like these guys maybe start to get nastier as the time progresses. Because they weren't doing the freezing thing at first. You can see I've only harvested from 15 enemies simultaneously once. So that's obviously going to be one of the more difficult mastery, or not even mastery, difficult goals. I wonder if these dungeons have multiple levels. If we ran through it super hard and killed everything, if you go down a level or something, or it's just like extremely huge. Alright, did I get 15? Yes. Let's, not ready yet. So we'll probably make the first goal. I'm not sure that we'll make any of the others this first go round. This guy can be nasty. Alright, so I got a couple objectives complete. I got 50 seconds left. I need to kill a lot more critters. Not sure that I'm going to make it. It's a bummer.
Your day comes.
I'm going to be probably going to be off. I've got a little tiny bit of time left. I've run out of real estate. So I got one of the primary things complete. I don't know how progress is tracked. Is this going to be just a total fail or what? We're about to find out. Let's see, failed. So we're gonna have to do this again. How do we restart it? So some of success in these might be knowing the layout of the tile set that it's working, so that you don't end up in dead ends too often. So yeah, we need to harvest more enemies simultaneously. We were pretty close on the kill counter. And our plan of using the Locust Swarm passively worked just fine. So we need to focus on getting into bigger groups of enemies more often and using the haunt that way. So let's see if just going back in. Okay, so it's pretty easy to do it again. You just exit through the portal and then hop right back in. I think that this should work. And here we go. So it looks like it's going to be set up the same way each time. So I don't want to dawdle too much, since last time what happened is I ran out of time, and I need to just run into a bunch of enemies and try and harvest a lot. See, there's one. Oh, I need to resummon my dudes. That was rough. So I also need to be aware that the cooldown of Soul Harvest is going to affect my ability to get this to work as well. So my Soul Harvest is back off of cooldown. I need to find a large group. This one's not large enough, so I don't want to use Soul Harvest yet. I want to use it only when I get into a group that's large enough. It's hard. I'm not good enough at sort of just doing... I was about to say I'm not good enough at counting. I think you know what I mean. I'm not good enough at estimating the number of things from a quick cursory inspection. So that's going to pose a little bit of a challenge. So I need to find a large group. Run around until I find a bunch of dudes. Let's try this one. Only 11. That did not work. Keep running around. And I may need to reconfigure, I may need to get rid of the pets, because they're going to kill off the groups while I'm waiting for my cooldowns to go. So ultimately that may not be a viable setup for this dungeon either. I need to go with fewer pets. Maybe abandon using pets altogether. Alright, only one of you, not enough. 3 of you, also not enough. Hey. Yeah, there we go. So you have to do that 10 times. That's pretty rough. I'll need to look in to see if there is a cooldown reduction for Soul Harvest. Okay, that wasn't enough either. So that I can basically spam it when I need to. Yep. 3. I I've got a good movement speed buff, which is going to be key to doing this, I think. I'm also going to need to have a little bit better map awareness. I'm already starting to and I'm much farther from the kill goal than I was the first go round. So this is clearly going to take me a couple tries. When this one doesn't work, as I don't think it will, subsequently what I'm going to do is I will record all of my attempts, but I will only force you to watch my successful one subsequently to this. Okay, is this enough? Yeah. So we're obviously still not going to make this. Hey, get out of here.
I must wait no more.
So we're not going to make any of the goals this time, it looks like. So we need more of this type of area, like all throughout the dungeon. All right.
The spirit aid me.
Wait, what happened? Oh, we completed it just in the nick of time. So by achieving at least one primary objective, you've completed the basic tier for this dungeon. So we got harvest 15 different, we didn't get that one. We got kill 100 enemies afflicted by both locust swarm and haunt. And we got one of the general things. So, mastering this dungeon, complete all the objectives in the time. So what we seem to have gotten for that is just an achievement, really. I don't see anything else. What's this? So I picked this up the first time around in the dungeon. I found more of these enigmatic portals. They are hidden, yet everywhere. They call to me, but to set foot into them is to be drawn deeper into the mystery of the dungeons that lie beyond. I cannot think of anything else. I should find a way to close the portals, if only to save me from myself. So, I don't know if this is just sort of like flavor stuff, or I'll pick it up from time to time as I go throughout these dungeons. I'm not sure about that. So, that was sort of completing the Jade Harvester dungeon. We know generally how these are going to work now, and so I will play these from time to time, and from here on out, you will only see videos of me successfully completing a set dungeon or finding a set dungeon for the first time, so that you can see where it is if you don't want to find it yourself. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Maybe you can give me some hints about good builds for getting mastery of this set dungeon, and I'd be happy to hear them. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my Diablo 3 content, there should be a lot of it, because I'm going to play through a seasonal character, at least one seasonal character, get them up to 70, get some Paragon levels on them, and also try and get those tasty season journey rewards. So keep track, and if you're not going to do that, well then, I don't care what you do.